Welcome to another episode of Designing Dreams in the Haus. I'm your host, Tyler Schwartzmiller, owner and principal designer of Haus Studio, Haus and Home, and now Haus Makes a Home on NBC4 Daytime Columbus. I'm here with Sam as my guest today. Thanks, Sam.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm great.
Thank you so much for coming in. I've known you now for, probably 6-7 years?
Yeah.
We met kind of through Conkus or whatever, and at the time you were working there. But kind of give us your background. How'd you get into this industry? Where's your starts? All that good stuff.
Well, you can thank Brooke Birchfield for getting me in this industry.
Thanks, Brooke.
Thank you, Brooke.
We owe you a drink and a shot.
We met on a party bus.
That seems very accurate for Brooke, yes.
So we met on this party bus. We didn't know anyone, and we were going to Athens, to OU, the campus, with a bunch of old people that graduated there 10 years before that.
You didn't go there, right?
No, I went to CCA.
I didn't think so, yeah.
So anyways, we're hanging out, and then we became friends, and I was working this toxic job.
Okay.
And it was a commercial photography job. Actually, I used to work in the same complex that we're recording in.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And so it was an online estate sale company.
So we're going to egg them or something afterwards?
They moved to Hilliard, so.
Okay.
We can still go.
We can still egg them.
But anyways, my face was breaking out because I'm touching dusty things.
What were you photographing?
Estate sales.
Oh.
Which I got some really cool,
I'm sure some good stuff, but nasty
yeah.
and grody.
So, my face was breaking out. I'm, breaking my back, lifting, armoires, and I'm ripped at the time. I'm oh, my God, I'm so fit. But anyways, I was I'm done with this. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And so I reached out to Brooke, and I was where do you work again? So you guys hiring? Because I like you. And she's yeah, actually, we're hiring a receptionist at Caucus. And I was okay, I don't really want to be a receptionist,
right.
But I will. And so I started there, and I was this is just kind of I'm going to probably find something else. Yeah. But anyways, I ended up, moving up pretty quickly. Within 6 months, I was, assisting the GM and, helping out with, random stuff. We figured out that we were too ADHD together, so then I was, begging to take over the marketing because they were using stock images at first.
Really?
Yeah. And
so, at this time, Mark was probably 100-plus employees.
Yeah.
And they were using stock images and just
Yeah, because they just didn't have.
And what was this, 2018, 2017?
Yeah, 2018 or 19.
Okay, all right.
And so I'm you guys have such a beautiful product.
Yeah, they have a beautiful product, yeah.
Let's show it off. And so he ended up letting me take over the marketing.
Okay.
And trusted me to open Midwest.
Yeah.
I went in, I was doing
Yeah, because there's a whole new brand for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And so we were I was going to the city and helping get permits and all these things.
Wow.
Yeah. I helped design it with Megan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was just I don't know. That's how I got into it. And
That's
then
cool.
I started to realize I think that I want to help more people than just this
yeah.
countertop company. Excuse me.
You're good.
Is that going to be on there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
But if you can just kind of break for a second. So Midwest is a branch of Conkus. Cambria exclusively sells to Midwest, and then Conkus is their natural stone and other quartz company. So it's one big company, but it's split into two. So
yeah. So I also started getting messages on LinkedIn how did you do this ad on TV or how did you do this, and I'm okay, this is my sign. Once COVID hit, I was I have to do more. There's something else calling me. And I actually went to a psychic a long time ago, and he was you're never gonna have just one job. You're gonna be in production, you're gonna be working with multiple companies. And I'm okay, I didn't really see it.
Right, you're
time.
bullshit.
I was a surfer, so I was yeah, okay. I just want to go to the bar.
I just want to go back to Don Pablo's. Where were you a server at though?
Oh, the Crest.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, we talked about this.
And then I worked at Bernard's.
Loved the Crest. You worked at Bernard's?
Yeah.
Oh, God, I love that place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so fun.
It was more fun back then.
Yeah. I love Short North Tavern where it's cash only, right
yes.
the streets.
Yes.
Literally, you can't take a credit card. It's so much fun because people that aren't regulars will come in there and oh, I want to order something. No, you need cash only. So I do love that. It's
and Dirty Mike's down the road.
Did you see they're opening Char Bar again after it got hit? Because someone drove into it, 2 months ago. And I really, because talk about a dirty bar. I really thought they weren't going to reopen it, but they're reopening Char Bar.
It was a funeral home or something before.
It was?
Originally?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, or something
that
crazy.
seems very appropriate
Yeah.
for Char Bar to be a funeral home before that.
Yeah, kind of funky.
So what's your degree in? Is it in marketing? Is it in photography?
It's in photography.
It's in photography.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you have any marketing with that? Or you
No.
just kind of just taught yourself
I
this
taught
skill?
myself everything.
That's crazy,
so
Sam.
I originally went to school for graphic design.
Okay.
And then my senior year, I changed my major. I was like, I don't really want to just do this.
Yeah.
And I always loved photography.
Yeah.
And so I changed my major. My family was not happy about it. They were like,
right.
Don't, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, you just went
Go
to school
spend some more money.
And they're like, we're not paying for your 5th year. And I was like, I don't care. And anyways, what was money? Because I didn't know.
Right, yeah, it's negative money at that point.
Let me sign off.
Let me sign. What they do to kids is so ridiculous.
It's so bad.
I remember going. My freshman year, my parents were there, but then my sophomore year, I went to go get all my stuff, and they're like, "Oh, you're approved for up to $100,000 in school loans." I was like,
"Sweet,
give me the money." I was like, "This is the stupid. Why you're giving someone who's 19 years old all of this money, and we could put our books on there, we could put our food on there." I remember going and swiping my card at the freaking vending machine, getting a $2.75 Mountain Dew. Do you know how long I paid for that goddamn Mountain Dew? Thank God my school loans. No, my school loans are paid off, but I paid them off on. I think 31. So, I mean, it still took me almost 9 years to pay these things off. And, if I could deduct all the Mountain Dews plus interest, I probably would have got a year off that damn year.
Yeah.
Off the damn tuition. It's
I was going to the bar with the money.
Oh, my God.
And then my parents had to take it away from me. They were like, Sam, we cannot, you have to pay this back.
I had a friend who got a check because it was overpaid, and they went and bought a car. In my mind, I was like, and I was doing, Mountain Dews and shit. I was like, oh, it's fine. I was
doing Mountain Dews.
I was fine. I was like, guys, you're going to, I think the car was $10,000. You're going to end up paying $25,000 for this car by the time it's done with interest. And oh, it's fine. No, it's not fine. I was just smart enough to okay, I'll spend some of it, but not go crazy with it. But I also work full time too. So I would actually pay on it. So I was paying the interest and stuff as I was working and going to school.
I remember graduating and doing my taxes that year. And I had just met John. I had moved back from Colorado. And John and I started dating, and he was helping me with my taxes because his mom's an accountant.
Yeah.
And he's like, "You made $12,000 last year."
I think my first year working, I made 18 or 20,000, and I was excited though. That's the sad part. I was like, yeah, I made $20,000. I'm so rich.
I was working part time on the weekends.
Yeah.
And going to school, and I didn't know.
Right. My money was drinking money and as long as I could pay my rent, I'd be okay.
Yeah.
That's all I cared about.
Yeah. Paying the rent and having fun.
I remember one time I went on this trip with one of my good friends, Katie, and when you're that young, you kind of forget to pay your rent because in college, this is kind of deducted. And I forgot to pay it, and I got home, and it was 5 days later, and I went on vacation, and I came home, and it was a 5-day notice. I was like, ah! And
immediately evicted.
I had an extra $1,000 that I did not have, and I was like, okay, I guess I'm gonna write this check.
I think I'm gonna go sell my plasma.
Right. It's not my body. Anything to make that money at that point, but yeah. Okay, so CCAD, you graduated, so got a degree in photography, and then that's how that all kind of started. Mm-hmm. That's so interesting.
Yeah, and now we're here.
Yeah, now we're here. Is this what you always wanted to do when you were younger, or were you one of those kids you didn't know what you wanted to do, or did you know what you wanted to be when you grew up?
I knew I really loved art.
Okay.
I think I told you this story about when I was in 3rd grade and I was drawing Powerpuff Girls on my paper.
Yeah.
And my math teacher was like, well, first of all, she kept telling my mom, something's wrong with her. She's just drawing on every paper. She's not
even her. It's just her neighbor's paper. Just doodling on neighbor's papers.
And I'm talking to everyone. Talking to everyone and doodling. And colored pencils, crayons, everything. And so she rips up my paper and she's like, "You'll never be an artist." And I was like,
that is traumatic.
Yeah.
That is shit that happened when I went to art school. People ripping your shit up. But 3rd grade. Teacher, just imagine just ripping it in half.
And then I got into CCAD, and I always to this day if you're alive, Miss Faulkner.
I hope you're dead, Miss Faulkner.
I hope you're dead. Don't be alive.
Don't be alive.
But anyways, yeah, she was so mean, and I've always wanted to write her a letter and say look at this. Look what I'm doing.
Maybe she was I was just trying to encourage her. I thought if I really pushed her, she'd be better.
I thought if I ripped up her paper that
she would draw better. No, I mean, I do really worry about kids and their creativity. And I know I've expressed this before. Like, we didn't have iPads. We didn't have that stuff. Like, I remember driving down the road and just like looking at the window and like counting the raindrops and making those into art or doing whatever. And like, I think that's where a lot of my creativity started, was just like being by yourself and having those moments of like watching the clouds. Like, I can't tell you, there is no kid today that's going outside and laying on their back and watching those clouds go by and pretending they are something. And that really concerns me. And I do understand, like, and I don't understand because I don't play Fortnite, but I know like there's a creativity part to that and a creativity party to some of it. But like, are they getting that same creativity of just like using only their mind and their imagination? And this one sounds crazy, and I know I'm a crazy person. Like, people say count sheep. I build houses in my head to fall asleep.
Oh my God.
I literally have a house and I build it in my sleep, and that's what soothes me to go to sleep. I know that makes me a psychopath, but like,
and then you're like in your dream house.
Kinda, yeah. So it's like, are they using their brains like that? Are they using that part of their brain to be creative and design and all that kind of stuff? And
I don't know if they can unlock that because they're stuck on an iPad.
They're stuck on an iPad. And I remember when I got The Sims, and I probably was in the 6th grade. And the only reason I wanted The Sims was not for the characters. It was to build the houses. And I would spend hours and hours and hours building these houses and using the cheat code, Rosebud, exclamation point, exclamation point, exclamation point. It's a horrible one. And just so I'd have unlimited money, so I could just keep building houses and do this and do that. And like, that was my favorite part about the game. It wasn't actually it wasn't the characters. It was just building the houses. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I really wonder if kids these days are going to have that creativity that we were able to have, not being so in tune with their phones and everything.
I know. And like, it's awesome that, I have a friend that's an art elementary school teacher, and she's doing the coolest stuff with her kids.
Oh, is she?
So I love to see that, but I'm also like, I always worry about these like rural towns that like they're not getting those art classes.
Yeah.
That's like the first thing to get cut.
Of course,
it is like so like sad. And
Well, I'm from a really small town, and like I look at like some of these kids and like, oh, we have a pottery class. We have a what do you bake it in? A kiln. I was like, we couldn't get 2 sticks to rub together in our school, let alone a kiln.
That's why we were building houses in our head.
Build houses in our head. Like, so I mean, it is cool. It is interesting how much emphasis we don't really look at the arts anymore, and it's such an important part of, I think it's using the other side of your brain. Like, we're teaching kids to use the one side to read and write, but like, are we using the other creative side of our brain? I hope so.
I hope so.
Because like, we need this generation to be creative, to come up with problems for all the fucking world, because we have so many problems.
And also, we need you to be like doing design work and like all the creative things.
Yeah. So what is the favorite part of your job, if you had to say?
I love working with people such as yourself.
Okay. Yeah.
I love like getting to know people, helping their brand elevate. But like, my favorite part is like, I can go out to happy hour with you and we're like sitting there, like we'll talk about work and then we're like gossiping and laughing for 5 hours.
I know, right?
We'll be there like just having fun, and then it's a write-off. Like,
Who's writes it off, David? The write-off people.
So yeah, it's just like, it's fun to get to know people and just like help people and connect people with other people. Like, networking is like one of my favorite things. I don't have enough time for it, but
it's interesting. I've expressed this. I used to work for a company in Cincinnati, and it was like, we go to work from 9 to 5. We were part of no other outside organizations, no nonprofits, and like, we were just in our own little bubble. And it was fine because I had my own friends. And then it's crazy, when I came to Columbus, I was thrown into this NKBA really, within the first few weeks of being at J Company, and I didn't understand the group that we had, and like the arms that literally just embrace you and pull you in and want to be part of it. And we're hosting an event in a few weeks, and like, we're gonna do a wine and a popcorn pairing, and just like,
that's cute.
I know.
That's so cute.
I thought it was too. That's why I did it.
That's why I did it.
That's why I did it. But it's like, these are such great events and great organizations, and like, we are so lucky in Columbus to have, BIA, NKBA, and NARI all in Columbus that are all really strong. And even ASID. We have all these, and it's so great that we have all these different organizations, and you can find which one works for you. I know you're part of BIA for a while, and I've been part of NKBA, NARI. I've been kind of bouncing back between a few of them, and it is great that we have that community here, and it's not super competitive, because in so many other territories, like, people don't go because it's so competitive. Like, they're afraid you're going to steal their clients, or you're going to talk to a competitor. Like, oh, don't talk to your competitors when you go there. And I don't feel that at all, and that's what I do love about our social gatherings.
I think it's good, but also like, if your competitor's there, it's just like, okay, who cares? Like, there's enough room at the table for all of us to eat.
Right. And if you're scared of me stealing your client, then you're not doing your job.
Yeah,
because
do better.
If it's that easy to steal, then do better.
Yeah.
Be better.
Be better.
Be better. Yeah. I mean, it really has been my catalyst, like getting in with these organizations, and I'm assuming for your business as well, like they probably have helped you grow and meet more people to do even more business.
And like I joined the Chamber of Commerce recently,
yes.
and it's been really good for me. I joined, they put your name on this like list. They're like super involved with like asking you like, hey, do you want to be involved in this? Or like, do you want to donate a gift card or whatever?
Yeah, right.
And I've gotten 2 clients already.
Oh, that's
and I've
so
been
awesome.
a member for like literally like 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So
what chamber are you a part of?
I joined the Powell Lewis Center,
Okay.
and then I'm thinking about joining the Worthington
Okay.
and Westerville one.
Okay.
But it's like good community.
It's good community, and it's like we're Tri-Village. I think it's like $300 a year, maybe $500. I mean, it's really affordable. And I was telling you that Clean Eats place just opened up today. Literally, they opened up today, and we went there, and the Chamber of Commerce president was there, and she came up and said hi, and like introduced me to the owner of that place. And it is a great community too. They do a lot of nonprofit stuff, but it's nice because it's outside of our industry as well.
Yeah.
Like I do a lot of like NKBA and area that's all industry. This is out of our industry, and it's really great. It's like, hey, here's 3 banks that you can go to that are here in Columbus that can help you finance your project, or blah blah. Saying
or like you meet like a business that you wouldn't have met,
right?
And they're like, oh my god, I saw your work online, and I want to work with you,
right? Yeah.
So that's so cool.
Yeah. So what are the challenges of owning your own business? So you've owned your business now for what? Probably 3.5, 4 years?
Yeah, 3 years.
3 years. Okay.
Is it 4 years? I don't even know.
When's your anniversary? Do you know the last day you were at Conquest?
I opened in 2022, so February 2022.
Okay.
So math.
Yes, math. So like I remember mine because mine is 8/18/2018. Like is the date that I quit at my last company. So like it is ingrained in my brain.
It's just crazy because I'm like, the time is flying so fast.
Yeah, I mean, we just hit 6 years, and I'm like, when did that happen?
Yeah, so I mean, like, it's hard to like manage people,
Yeah.
but it's also so rewarding to see people evolve. But yeah, I think that's like probably.
What's your biggest challenge right now in your business?
My biggest challenge.
Myself.
Well,
I'm the problem.
We're getting like a lot of great leads.
Yeah.
And like we're evolving so fast. Like
Yep.
I want to make sure that I'm taking care of my people that I already have.
Yep.
And also like making sure we're bringing in the correct people to like help out.
Yeah.
Which it's been great, but it's also like, okay, I have to make sure that I vet these people properly.
It's really hard. Like I will say, people can interview really well, and then once you see them, you're like, oh, maybe not. And like, not that you can let them like volunteer for like 2 weeks. I almost feel like this is a 2-week trial, and I will say, we have a new HR company, and they're like in our job offers, like they're like, do you want an option to have a 2-week trial to where, hey, we're going to try for 2 weeks, and whether it's not them or not you, you can just be like, nope, bye.
Well, you're investing in this person.
I was like, okay, right. I mean, for us, like, it is usually 6 months to actually see if someone's capable of doing this job. Like, that is a lot of money to invest.
Yeah.
To get that person trained.
Yeah, it's a lot. But, like, at the end of the day, what I think I'm going to start doing is having like a board meeting when I interview people.
Yeah. So
first time one-on-one, and then the second time bring people in. Maybe it's like a client that you're close with.
Oh,
maybe I'll ask you, Tyler. Come on. Do you want to work with this person?
Yes. Well, and honestly, we do the same thing. So for people in our office, I do first interviews, and then we go to a restaurant, like a little happy hour. We all like get a drink. They're usually like, oh, I'll just have like an iced tea. You're like, okay.
You're out.
You're out. Just kidding. You don't have to drink. It's just benefits. And like we all go around the table, and it's just like a conversation. Like we will talk about work, but it's also like the personality thing. Like, there's now 10 of us in our office every day. Like, it's a lot of personalities, it's a lot of traits. So we want to make sure this vibe is going to go good. And like we are culture. Like if anything, I say our culture is really, really important to me because I don't want to ruin what we already have. Like we have a good time. Like this morning we were like running around showing memes to each other and just laughing for 30 minutes. Did I pay for that 30 minutes for every employee? I did. But guess what? Everybody was happy. They laughed, and then we went back to work, and they were focused then. And that's just part. You just need that. And there is no job and no person who can sit there for 8 hours and just crunch for 8 hours straight. It's not possible.
I've been in those jobs where they're like, "Oh, get back into your desk," and it's like, no,
it's
like,
just,
this is like toxicity at its finest.
Well, especially being in a creative field, like. There are days I can't be creative. Like, and I know you understand this as well. Like, there are days I'm like, you know what? I'm just not feeling it. I just don't have that vibe. So I'm going to do paperwork today. I'm going to do this today. And that's totally okay. And I think in so many of these companies, like, no, today you're doing this, and tomorrow's and you're like, that's not possible. That's not how people's brains work.
Right.
And if it is, they're probably not good at their job.
Right.
Because I'm a very creative person, and there are days I just don't feel it. And then the next day, I will wake up, get in that shower, and I had just ran through an entire design, and I know the entire design. I get in, and like, the girls all know, and James, and I'm like, I come in, I'm like, got it. I was in the shower last night, and I figured out this whole design. And they're like, you thought of that in the shower? I was like, yes, that's what I do. But it's just like you sometimes don't have the brain capacity because like maybe it was something at home or something you're after work and your brain isn't working that way. So I give our designers the flexibility to say, hey, I can't do this today. Yeah. And that's totally okay. But finding people that you can trust to do that is the hard part. That giving them that, I'm setting you free. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah, like I need you to do this,
yeah.
right?
Right,
and take the time you need to do it, unless it's due today.
Unless it's due today.
Then get your ass on it.
Right, there comes a day she's like, guess what, I forgot something, so we're going to figure this shit out.
Yeah, it's managing people can be hard, but it's also super rewarding. And like I said, I love watching people evolve.
Yeah, the rewarding part's been really interesting to me because, my first hire was Amy, she was already a great designer. Like, we've grown together a lot and learned a lot from each other. But, like, hiring these new designers or, honestly, hiring these new installers that have maybe been on the install crew for, they've only been installing for 1 or 2 years. And, like, they frame up a wall by themselves. Or, like, we have one guy who trimmed an entire house by himself. And I went in there, and it looked flawless. And I was like, good job.
Bravo.
Like, bravo. And, like, I was like, we're promoting you up. Like, you're going to the next level. Like, because we have, like, helpers, then we have carpenters, then we have helper carpenters, and then we have lead carpenters. And like he's moving up the territory, he's moving up the ladder, and I'm like, good for you, like you are doing it, and like that we're giving him the tools to be successful. Feels amazing.
Well, and it's like everyone thrives off of validation.
Yeah.
And so like you're giving him that validation of like you're going to move up. And that also shows the other people, like, do a good job. And, like, this is where you can be.
Right. And not only is the money, it's, you get trucks and you get better, like, you get better things. And, like, that's my thing is, like, people thrive off that kind of stuff. So, hey, see what they're doing. See that they just got a bonus. See they just got this. See they just got that. Like, keep doing it and you can have that too.
Yeah, exactly.
So, it's crazy because I'm sure you kind of feel similar. I mean, when I started this, I was like, oh, it's just going to be me in my house. And now I'm like, what the hell am I doing some days?
Right? I know. You really like leveled up.
I doubled down and then split and then doubled down again.
Like I remember when you were in your first office.
Yeah.
Like what was it? We did like a year?
Yeah, I think it was a year celebration.
We did the like champagne.
We did the champagne popping. It was me and Amy. Yeah, it was funny. This popped up the other day. Yeah, and like I was really happy then. I'm actually happier now, which is crazy to think to have this many employees. Like,
right.
You sent me the business first sales for, I guess, installers in Columbus the other day. And I was looking at that. I was like, God, like, we're, like, in that top, like, 15.
You don't want to show that.
Yeah, I don't want to show that. But we'd be in the top, like, 10 to 15 and have 20 employees. Like, it's crazy to think about the amount of people that work for me now.
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain it some days.
Well, it's like you're fulfilling your dreams and goals.
Yeah.
And, like...
It's funny because they're dreams I've never had. Like, people are like, oh, well, you always thought this. And I was like, I thought of one or two. Yeah. I never thought of something like this. And it is really fun, though.
It's really inspiring.
Oh, thank
you. Especially for me, because I remember when I was thinking about starting Reimagine, I was like, can we go out to happy hour and talk? Like, I just like, wanted to pick your brain because...
And, the thing is, like, I didn't go to school for business. And I think that's my thing to other people is like, you don't have to go to school for business to figure this out.
You can do it on your
honestly,
own.
There are a ton of podcasts out there. There's tons of people who want to mentor. I know you say you have this great mentor that you
I have a great mentor, and I mentor students
Oh,
too.
that's so great that you do that as well. I know. I've been thinking about going down to CCD and talking to like somebody and saying like, hey, like, okay, so I was in this thing called DECA growing up, and I don't remember what it stands for anymore. But it was like young business people, and like so I guess maybe I always thought of having my own business, and I remember, like, I commented something on something with like a teacher's comment a few weeks ago. Maybe it was a month ago. And she goes, I follow you, everything you're doing. She's like, I hope you're using the skills that you learned in DECA. I was like, I'm probably not. But, like, that's really cool.
But
like,
maybe you are subconsciously.
Maybe I am subconsciously.
Yeah.
Like, because, like, we had, like, remember Otis Monkfire, the cookies?
No. Okay,
the frozen cookies, like, you'd cook or whatever, and they had the muffins. Doesn't matter. Like, we had a little business in school. Like, we'd sell cookies and stuff. Like, instead of selling, pot or something, we sold cookies. We all have the friend that sold pot in high school. Let's be real.
Yeah, we did.
Okay. I mean, it's mostly oregano, but yeah. So there's these cookies that we'd sell for like 50 cents, and like we bought them for like 10 cents, and we had to show like profit margin and advertising, and the teacher would charge us to like print things too. Like it was like a true business.
Hey, Mom, can I borrow money?
I need 10 cents to print stuff. But like, and then we had to do presentations and stuff like that. So I was like, yeah, I guess I am using those skills in a small sense. But the whole point is like, you don't have to have those skills. Like there are some people who have given advice, podcasts, mentors, things like that, that are out there to help you, which is really great because, you know, you should fail a little bit because that's how you learn. Mm-hmm. You're never going to learn everything from a podcast or a book or whatever, but you can get a good start there.
And also just going out and doing it. Yeah. Like my whole thing is like, just do it. I started with like a manifestation book. I had written down like exactly what I wanted to do.
Oh, that's cool.
And I wrote down like, here's where I am right now.
Yeah.
And this is what I want. This is what I want to be. And that next year I was where I wanted to be.
So you've gone back and like kind of do you do this now every year? Is that part of your manifesting?
I actually just said, I was like, I need to start doing that again because like it's so fascinating. Like, yes, you are doing the work. You're putting the work into it. But like manifestation for me is so big.
I feel like I'm very powerful. So Sam has a story. Someone posted a bad review on our website or on Google the other day. It wasn't a client. It was a person who wanted our services, but they did not qualify for our services, and I had to tell them no. So I told them no. 3 email exchanges back and forth. At the end, he deleted.
He deleted it?
He deleted the review.
Oh my gosh. After we blasted him on social media.
Did I manifest that? I
yes,
did.
You did.
I did. I definitely did. And it's
But you emailed him and reached out about the review.
Yeah. And I mean, it is throwing things out in the universe and being positive about it. And I do believe that stuff comes back. Honestly, I believe that's why we've been so good with our people we've hired is I try to have good karma. I try to put good things out in the universe. And like we get really good people back. Like, I have one of the best teams in the industry, period, hands down.
It's all intention.
It's intention.
Like my phrase for this year is, in order to expand, you must lead with intention.
Okay.
And so like that's my like what I'm living by this year.
I like that. Mine is taking care of myself a little bit more. Like I have been really focused on other people and taking care of the business. And we're to a point to where we're really, really good. And like, I'm like, no, I'm going to leave at 3 today. Hey, I'm going to come in at, 10. Like,
I'm going to go get that massage.
I'm going to get the massage. I'm getting a facial tomorrow. Like, I'm taking time to
you.
take care of me because I really haven't. Like, when I started Haus Studio, I was working out 6 days a week, like killing myself at the gym. And I really let that go because I felt like at the time the business was more important. Those hours at the gym, I could spend better at work. I do see my mental status has suffered because I liked it. And I do have an addictive personality, so I was addicted to the gym as well.
Yeah.
But like it was my clarity, and I do feel like I lost that a little bit. So as like I wasn't going to start in January because I'm not going to the gym with all those people who are going to start for 2 weeks and quit.
There.
So I'm like, all right, I'm going to slowly. So I have a treadmill at home, starting to use that, and I'm going to get back into a weekly gym routine. But it's like I had to put myself first because I haven't been for a very long time.
It's so important.
It's so important. I know it is, and I've just been ignoring it. And now that I'm 35, turning 36 in a few months, like it gets harder and harder to keep in shape. And if I don't start now, I don't want to wake up and be 40 and be like, what happened?
Give me the lipo.
Give me everything. Give me everything.
But yeah, I agree. Like taking care of yourself mentally is so important because you can't show up for your people. You can't show up for your business unless you're there and like, unless you're feeling good about yourself.
And honestly, like even, I mean, I had COVID now over 2.5, maybe 3 years ago. It's been a while. Like I still have foggy brain days some days. And maybe that's just like what my brain is now, but like I definitely feel like I just don't have the clarity that I do some days when I work out and I'm able to like work through those things. That's the other thing for me is like when I work out through the anger and stress and all that kind of stuff and it kind of melts away.
Release it all.
And then I'm back to zero. Like I hate being in negatives. I'm not a negative person.
Right.
And to me, like, can I get to that zero to where I can move up? Okay, I will be above zero, but like, can at least get back to zero because going in a negative to work is never a good place to start.
It sheds off on everyone else.
It's toxic. It literally spreads to everybody. And I was reading this book and it was like, it's more about couples, but I take into my work atmosphere. It's like, oh, relationships should be 50-50. And you're like, no, that's not true. And you're like, well, some days you have to be at 20 and your partner has to be an 80. And I'm like, no, and it's like, no, that doesn't be true. As long as you're saying, hey, I only have 40 to give you today, and your partner's like, maybe I have 40, that's okay. You don't have to be 100 all the time.
I love
that. So I do the same thing with my employees. Like, hey, if you don't have 100 today, that's okay. Maybe today you have 30. I can help you. Maybe I can get you to 70, but I can't get you to 100 either.
Right.
So, how can I at least push you to get where you need to be? And same thing with me. Some days I'm like, hey guys, I need some help. I need some rah, rah, rah.
And like one thing I've been doing with my team when we meet, I'm like, okay, so like, what's the word of the day? Like, what are we going to do? Like, how are we
do you have
gonna,
a calendar?
Like, what are we going to do? How are we going to like make ourselves be better?
Yeah.
Like, I want us to be the best.
Yeah.
So what do we do?
Yeah.
What's your word? Like, what's your takeoff on this? Like,
and I love that it's real too. It's not like, okay, team, today we're going to use the word teamwork. Like some bullshit like
Hands
that.
in.
Hands in, go team. Like it's authentic and it's real and it's in the moment. I feel like so many times, like a lot of these groups, like, they go to these lectures and they say, okay, we're going to follow this outline of how to be a better company. And you're like, that's not real life.
It's not real.
That's not real. You're pretending and you're like, oh yeah, everybody's on board.
Yeah.
But they're not. They're like bullshit. Because we've all been in those companies. You're like, F off. Like, you are so not
corporate.
Like, oh, we're down in the front lines with you guys. We're here day to day. And you're like, you just hopped in your fucking $300,000 Mercedes. You're not on the team with us.
No.
Like, bullshit.
We're out here working.
Yeah. So I do love that. So manifesting, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
So in the next 5 years, my goals are this is what I want to do and what I believe we will do. I want to have a studio, a photography studio that I can rent out, but also use for my clients.
Okay.
So like if I wanted to do a shoot for your company, you could come into my studio.
Yeah.
But I've heard that it's like super profitable to have.
I could see that.
But I also want a space in there where we have our office. So like right now we're working in an office in my house.
Yeah.
And we have 2 desks in there.
Yep.
We're thinking about bringing on another person who's like an assistant or, like working hands-on. Everyone else works remotely.
Yeah, right.
But it's like we can't evolve in that space.
Yeah, it gets hard because our last office, there was first it was me and it was like an L shape. So like I was here, Amy was here, then Laura went over here, and then when Megan joined, the copier was here. We literally had to move the copier to the middle of the room, and Megan was at a card table. So we're all in the perimeter, and the copier was in the middle of the room. So
it's tough.
It got tough. So I do understand.
Yeah, that's like
needing your own space.
Yeah, that's one of our goals, and I don't know what that looks like yet.
Yeah.
But I know that that's what I want to do, and that's what I'm building up for. And I also want to have more structure.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're building up now, so that as we evolve, we can just hop into these places. And
I will say start that early. I was using a payroll company that really they did HR, but didn't really do HR. And I learned the hard way, structure, HR, isn't a bad thing. I think people always oh, it's human resource. It's a bad thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's actually to protect the employee more than anything else.
Exactly.
And it's taken me a long time to get there, but it's we have to have these rules. I always and my joke is we're not a real company, but we are a real company. And I have to protect me, I have to protect the employee, and I need these rules in place for that reason. And not that we can't change them. And I think that's really the thing that we entered a new policy today with all of our installers. And it's guys, here's the thing. We're going to try for 2 weeks, and it doesn't work. We can change it.
It's a test.
It's a test. Remember, it's me.
Yeah.
I'm the owner. I'm the same person I was last week. We have these new policies. If they don't work, that's totally fine. We can look at it. But we have to have some type of structure. We have to be a real company. We are working on these multi-million-dollar projects. We can't just pretend anymore. This literally can't be Tyler delivering cabinets back anymore. This is a real company, and I have to treat it as such.
Exactly. Structure is so important.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what we're doing now is we're implementing all of these strategies.
Yeah.
So that in the next 5 years, and as we bring on new people, these things are in place.
Yeah.
So our social media strategy has completely evolved.
Yeah.
In literally 6 months.
Yeah.
We have a whole dashboard. Every client has a dashboard. We have everything set up for them, and the client can look and see what's going to be posted. Through the whole month.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah. So we have everything is set up like that.
And I give you props because social is changing literally every day. And to keep up on that is so insane. And it's we have multiple companies, and I'm always trying to check things out. And I was I don't know what that means. It's just because things change so often. And I have actually removed myself from personal social because work social so much. And it's part of my job. So then when I get home, it's not enjoyable to me anymore.
Right.
It just feels like an extension of my job. So I'm sure for you have to feel that so much.
I'm on TikTok every 5 seconds. Let's be real.
Is it more just a doom scroll? I think for me,
scroll.
that's what I am. It's not even I am posting. I'm not definitely not like
I'm
the
not
last
posting.
the last post on my personal page was my anniversary like a year ago. Like I don't post a thing on mine. It's just doom scrolling and sending memes to people.
I'm like a once a month poster. I'm like, okay, this is what
you're
I
a dumb
did.
You're a dumb post.
This is what I did for the last
my life.
Like, 3 months.
No, I totally get that. It's just it's so crazy, and I try to keep up, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna watch this video on this, and then next year, like, yeah, just kidding. They got rid of that.
I want like all the funnies. Like I don't want to see any more bad. I don't want to know. Like I'm gonna live in my fantasy world. Yeah.
I keep telling my husband I'm going to get chickens. So now my phone knows I'm getting chickens.
With the price of eggs.
With the price of eggs. So I am getting all these, the amount of chicken videos is so insane.
Chicken.
I learned everything about chickens. And Megan already has chickens. So like then I'm sending her chicken memes and she's like, oh, don't do this, do this. I'm like.
Her chicken memes are incredible.
Oh, yes. There's Rose, there's Dorothy, there's Blanche, and then there's Aubrey Hepburn. Like, it's so
funny.
It's so funny. She's
so are you allowed to have chickens?
Because I'm technically Columbus, I'm allowed to have chickens.
Okay, that's great.
And what I love is there's this company, it's called Coop or In Coop, something like that. And it's a camera that watches the chickens, and it's AI. So then it opens the door. So, like, it helps the predators. So it'd be like, Dorothy's at the door, and it opens the door, and then Dorothy's over at her nest. And, like, Dorothy laid an egg. It's like reading these faces, and it knows the chickens by name.
Oh my gosh, that's
I know.
incredible. AI is scary.
It's
but
a little scary. Like
but
it knows my face, and it also knows my chicken face.
It knows you and your chicken.
Well, which my phone knows my dog. So I put my dog's name in there, and it knows like, oh, Dee Dee's in this photo. Like I turned on Apple Intelligence or whatever. Uh-huh. I do like it for some things, other things not so much. But like that's really cool. Like I can literally type in the word Dee Dee, and it pulls up all the photos of Dee Dee.
Tags Dee Dee. It's like meta tagging.
It's like meta tagging. Yeah.
That's
Thank
incredible.
God that wasn't a thing back in the day in MySpace because the tagging of photos that I should have been in that I wasn't. Thank God.
Thank you. I don't want to see me doing a keg stand. Thanks.
I kind of do. I went back and tried to find my MySpace probably like 2 years ago. I think when JT bought it, he like wiped it.
I wanna find mine too. I wanna see like all these like emo posts I did, and maybe like the music I had on my page.
And with the music, I want the top 10.
Yes.
Because
you probably aren't friends with them anymore.
No. And the coding. I want to see what horrible coding I was doing on the back end. Like we were doing HTML coding at like the age of 12.
And I think that's why we're like so evolved in like the computer industry.
I think so.
Or like IT stuff. Like I remember when I was working at Conquest, they'd be like, "Can someone help me use the printer?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think that's fine."
Yeah, just press that button, girl. See where it says go? Just hit the go button, girl.
Go.
Green means go. So the way I always like to close out these podcasts are, do you have an awkward or funny story or encounter with a client that you can share?
Yeah, it's like a very odd story.
Oh, yay, my favorite.
I was going to get content at this house in New Albany.
Okay.
And I like, at the time, I had like been driving all over the place. Like I had so many things to do this day, and I was like rushing to get there. And I was like, okay, I got a plan. I'm gonna go in, get the content, run.
Yeah.
Because I had another appointment. So I get to this house, and it's like huge houses, you know.
Yeah, it's New
Albany.
Like
I'm like driving through. There's a gate. There's a person that's like guarding the gate. And I'm like, all
right.
right.
A guy with a sword. Like, sorry, you can't get in.
No, you shall not pass.
You shall not pass. What's the secret word?
So I like basically, so I like get in and I get to the house and I'm like getting my equipment out. I like basically have everything set up.
Yeah.
And the superintendent of the job comes out and he's like, "No cameras." And I'm like, "What? What?" They're like, the homeowner doesn't want anyone taking photos of this job. They don't want anyone knowing anything about their house. And I'm like, is this Oprah's house?
Right.
Like, I'm so confused. Like, at last I checked, we were in New Albany, Ohio.
New Albany, Ohio, yeah.
Like, please, get over yourself.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was my problem, like my awkward story of like, they're watching me like on all these cameras, like set up my stuff and you wait. The homeowner tells the superintendent to come and tell me that I can't take pictures. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, this is awkward. I'm going to drive away.
So I may have done somebody in Columbus, Lex Wexner.
Yeah.
Back when I was at J Company, we were doing appliances for him. So not actually his main house. Well, what they're doing is they're taking, and I don't know if you know about his house. So he has this dining room that like is on a cylinder that like lifts down into the basement, which is where the kitchen is. Oh, and they'll serve like, it's a 20-person table and then it'll lift back up. So we were taking the appliances downstairs out, putting those in the pool house and then replacing the new ones. So, and everybody had to have a background check. I mean, it's like $200,000-$300,000 worth of appliances. So, and this would have been like, 2011, 2012. And then we're like, the guys pulled up and they're like, "What are you doing here?" And they're like, "We're here to install the appliances." Like, don't you see the flag is up?
What does that mean?
He has a flag like the president does. So like, if the flag's at full mast, Lex is there and you can't come in.
I hate that.
So I remember like the guys called me like, what do we do? And I was like, I don't know, put me on the phone with, because I was some assistant, like obviously was not talking to, I was
Right.
the house manager's assistant.
Can I talk to the house manager's assistant?
Like, yeah, they're like, Lex is here. He didn't end up going to his meeting. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you can't come in the house. I was like, I have $200,000 or $300,000 in appliances in this truck. They're like,
we'll just leave it on the front
porch.
porch.
They're like, too bad. So like, we leave. We go back 2 weeks later. They do the appliances, and like, you know, you got to go in the servants quarter to do this. Like, we're not allowed in the main house. So then I was like, all right, we're gonna come back in 2 days and put these old appliances in the pool house. Like, we've decided we just want all new as well in there. So can you just like trash those? They're like 10-year-old Sub-Zero Wolf.
Yes, I will take those.
Yes, we'll take all of those. I won't resell those on Facebook Marketplace. It's totally fine. It was J Company, so we didn't. But it was like one of those things. You're like, this is crazy. Like, we live in Columbus, Ohio.
Like, and honestly, like, you're a human.
You're a human.
So stop.
I know. I mean, we have clients that don't want us to share their names. That's totally
fine.
Cool.
Totally I understand
fine.
that
I won't share your name. I won't share how much you spend. I just want to show off the beauty that we did. Mm-hmm. And I don't understand that one.
And also, like, we're in your space, yes, but it's not about you.
Right. Like, and it's, I mean, Kim Kardashian showed a tour of her entire house. Like, talk about getting murdered by somebody. She showed her entire house. You think you're better than Kim Kardashian?
You're not Kim K.
You're not Kim K.
I love it.
Well, thank you so much for being on here today. If you want to go there and kind of give your business info and everything.
Yeah. I'm Samantha Dettinger. I'm owner of Reimage Branding. You can find us at reimagine-branding.com or on social media, Reimagine Branding.
Thanks so much for coming in today, Sam.
Thank you.
Thanks again, guys, for joining us for another episode of Designing Dreams in the Haus. See you soon.
Boxland Media. Think big.